Here we go, folks. This is another auction find. I've paid £12 for this. It's an old Fidelity record player. Now, reconditioned and fully done up by someone, these can fetch a couple of £100. So this one don't look in too bad condition. Looking around it, it's all there. I haven't tried it out yet. I've just literally got it and I've started to give a little clean away on the surface, because this original covering is called Rexine. And you can't really get these original patterns anymore, or it's very hard to anyway, so people do recover these, but I'm just going to give this a little scrub and see how it comes up. It seems to be coming up alright. As I say, all I'm going to do, I've not tried it out yet, I will try it out, but you can see the dirt that's actually coming up there at the moment. And let's get me a bit of tissue. Where are we? Pardon me. And literally just wash away what we got there so far. Now again, I've not done too much work to that at the moment, as you can see, but it is coming up. So the main reason why I bought it as well is that nothing looks damaged physically. When people do restore these, obviously one of the most important things is the grills on these and also the knobs, and making sure that everything is there. So looking at this one, everything is there. The tone arm's there. It's still got a needle in situ. Not too worried about these decks, to be honest with you, because you can actually strip these down and actually respray them. So anything cosmetic can be worked on. So that's why I'm just giving it a little test clean. I've hardly got any stuff left in there. And I'm just seeing how far I need to go with regards to possible making it available for sale. So I'm just giving it a little rub down. Things like that, that's a bit of paint on that, so I mean that will pick off, but there we go, look, it's coming off now. But as I say, this the market for these things is actually very good. But as you can see already, with the bits I've given the wipe over to, alright, it's got a bit of damage there, but I mean you can actually touch this in maybe with a bit of blue paint, for example, but I'm not really too bothered about it. It's in original condition, that's the main thing, and it's all complete. So already I've proved that I can get this sort of, if I hold it like that, oh, I know it's got a couple of stains on that, but I'm not too worried about them. But as you can see, the difference between that, for example, and that, the condition it was in, just by a little bit of elbow grease, we've actually got a nice clean unit. So I'm going to go around this now, just give it a bit of a clean over first before I do anything further, and we'll see how it looks after a little clean like I'm doing now. As you can see, it's probably been stored in a dirty loft somewhere, but looking at it, it's in a right state, but we'll just see what we can do with it. Let's have a look around here, what we've got here. I mean, it's a HF35, again still with the original labels on, so there's half of the top clean, so we'll just carry on and let's just see what we can do. I've removed the lid, and I've also removed the hardware that comes along with it. As you can see, that that handle there is well rusty, as you can see. Now what I'm going to do, these bits, they actually come apart, and I'm actually going to give these a little sandblast. The plastic handle should clean up alright, but I don't want to spend any money on it. I want to get it as looking as best as I can, using a few tips and tricks basically. So as I say, things like the hinges, as you can see there, which is very, very rusty, as you can see, those will go in the sandblaster. And so what I've done for the moment is take the lid off, but just before I go any further, I'm just curious to see whether it does actually start and run. So let's see what happens here now. This is live. Right, I've just switched her on. Right, let's see what happens. Right, it didn't drop the record down on the deck, so a lot of this stuff, oh, that wasn't in, that's why, look at that, look. Let's just stop that for a minute. A lot of the stuff that, there we go, that's just clipped into place now. Let's try it again. So it's a 45, we're on 7-inch single and it's on 45, so let's try the auto mechanism again. There we go, it did it that time. Let's have a look.
Yes, well, if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, over this land, I'd hammer out danger, I'd hammer out a warning.
Right, well, it appears to work. Now, it's going to need a bit of lubrication. Let's just pull that lever, the auto mechanism. I can hear it slightly clicking. I can hear it slightly clicking. Now, what tends to happen with these old record players is that over the years, these mechanisms are mechanical. Things that open, lift the arm up the arm and pull the arm across. There's a mechanical layer underneath which is greased. Now the grease actually goes hard and that can cause a whole problem with noise from that thing not even queuing across, the deck running very, very slow and whirring and making a bit of whirring noise now. So all that really involves is to actually undo the 2 screws, the transit screws, lift the deck up and basically clean underneath the mechanism and then re-grease it. So I've done this before with WD-40 to decks that wouldn't even spin and was making a terrible racket, and a little squirt with the WD-40 frees up all that old 40-50 year old grease and you can wipe it all down, and then all you do then is just re-grease up the pivot points and that, and they run totally silent. 9 times out of 10 people think that the mechanism's broken because something don't spin or whatever, but it's normally a problem with grease. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to turn it off now. So I'll now carry on and I'll strip the record deck down and we'll get this thing running lovely. Right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Stripped all the way down. I decided that as it was a worker, it was worth me actually doing a bit of extra work to this. Now don't forget, you treat this sort of stuff as a hobby. If you're going to have to strip down everything like this, as I said, I could have just cleaned it up and put it back up for sale. But I do believe, as it's a runner and it's a worker and all the parts are actually here, it's worth me just doing this extra little bit of work. Now, as you can see, there's a bit of damage on that corner there. If there is, you can see the difference between what I've cleared up already, and that's just a quick wipe down, as you can see. But a lot of these sets, if there is a big chip out here, for example, or a bit of damage like what we've got on the corner there, when you take the actual deck out, you can find that normally there's some internal stuff overlapping. Look, there's a bit there, for example. Or you can even pull a strip of that off. All this is underneath the actual record deck. So you can actually utilise bits like this to actually repair an external part that is actually on the show. And after stripping it down, as you can see, all we've got basically is a speaker. That's the control unit there. That's the little circuit board. Very prehistoric, but it done the job back in the day. As this unit's working, these components are obviously all okay. There is certain things that do happen to these when they deteriorate, or if you get humming and stuff like that. I don't really want to have to go into that with you, because I wouldn't like you to get in here and start touching things electrically if you're not qualified to do so. I was a qualified electrician, so I do actually know what I'm looking at here. But initially, that is all that is in this unit. Now the record deck, as I was telling you, when you actually strip the record deck down, there's a lot of old grease, where are we, that congeals on these mechanisms here. Although you can't see it at the moment, right in there is where most of the problems occur, and a good squirt of WD-40 in there and then operate the unit a few times, and then obviously get rid of all the excess fluid in there. I might get the air hose out and blow that out basically, and then obviously re-grease certain key parts of the linkages. But also the record deck actually comes off as well. There's a circlip on there which I actually removed, and then this actual record deck lifts up, and then you'll find a little wheel that basically rubs wherever it's situated. I haven't found that one yet, I've not taken the deck off yet. There's normally a rubber wheel there which rubs on the inner level of underneath here, and that's actually what rotates the actual deck. Now the rubber can perish on them wheels, and it can also flatten off, for example, so that's just another thing to check. This one appears to be running fine, so we haven't got a problem with that, although I will take the deck off to look at that as well. But basically that's it. So this little item I've bought for £12 is virtually stripped down in probably 20 minutes, I suppose I've been here. There's a load of little bits there, as I said to you, which I'm going to put in the sandblasting cabinet and then give it a recoat of paint, and then I'm basically going to clean the record deck. There's no components needed at all. There's no paint work needed on this. If this was damaged and rusted, which some of them are, again, all you do is remove all the items on this record deck, and then you spray that as you would do, for example, any other piece of metal. Everything's there. It's all there. Look, as you can see, everything's in place. So basically all this has got, you've got to get rid of 50 years worth of grime basically. Right, well these are a couple of little strips of Rexine I've got off from inside. As you can see, I've got one bit from there, one bit from there, and another bit I've cut along, cut off from over there. So I've cleaned it up now. I've just give it a basic scrub over with some fairy liquid and a scrubbing brush. So there's a little bit to tackle there. On the front of the unit, there's just a little piece on that corner there, and basically I think that's about it. I don't think there's any more marks on it. That's just a little paint mark, as you know, which we're going to obviously try and remove. And there's a little teeny speck there, but apart from that, the actual casing is not too bad. So what I'm going to do is to try and cut a nice little piece out there and replace it with a piece here somewhere. Not too sure how I'm going to do that at the moment, but the colour match appears to be pretty good, so I'm going to try and do that now. What I may be able to do here, for example, just touch that in with a bit of blue paint, so I'll be trying that a bit later on, just for them little bits. There's not really a lot you can do here. But here, I'm playing this by ear, so I'm just seeing what way it's best to lay the Rexine down. Maybe something like that, for example. So if I just take that there, I've got a craft knife here. Again, I'm playing this by ear at the end of the day. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go down. I'll just straighten this edge up here. Yep, so I'm going to have to possibly just trim around that little square. I'll just draw around it like that. And lift out that original Rexine. Again, playing this by ear. Okay, so that's pretty much what we got left with, and hopefully when I put that in place you shouldn't really be able to see it. So I'm just going to get a bit of glue. This is just plastic glue. There's so many different types of glue. I'm not sure whether this is the right glue, but it's just the one I've got available. I'm going to drop a bit on there and just spread it about. Make sure we get it everywhere. And gently slide that bit of Rexine over our patch. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. It's in place. Now, let me try and get you near to it. Right, that's in place now, but when we zoom out, let's zoom out on. It doesn't actually look too bad. Well, at least we haven't got a big gaping mark there. And don't forget, I'm going to touch that a little bit up with blue paint around these edges here. So I would suggest that that is repair number 1 done. Right, I've just stuck the little corner bit on there, and don't forget these little bits here I'm going to touch up with some either blue paint, or I don't know whether you can get some sort of blue polish. I'm not too sure yet, so that's something I want to look into. I'm just going to let that go dry first. Now, with regards to these scrap bits I've still got, I mean, don't throw these away, because if you do get another record player, these come in sort of pretty common colours. They've done these in red and green and blue. So the chances are, if you do find another blue one, and you've got a couple of scratches or whatever in the surface like that, you can still have these little bits. So put these in a little jar somewhere or a little packet and keep them for possibly another one. But I'm sure you can agree with me that now the actual unit now is coming up pretty well. I've cleaned the grill up. The grill is actually in nice original condition now. That was basically only just stuck on the back plate there, which is that wooden plate there, with double-sided tape basically, which I've actually removed now. And again, that stuff was like tar-based tape, which you really couldn't pick off. And by using a white spirit solution, it really just made a mess. So the way I got over it, I got my heat gun and just held the heat gun about 12 inches away from it and just gently moved it around. And what happened then is it took the stickiness off, and I was able to peel that tape off. And any residue that was left on there, I actually just removed that with some white spirit, ordinary white spirit. So the grill will be going back in now, incomplete. It's complete, but that is now starting to look very good now and original. So we're getting there now. I'm just going to have a little bit of a tidy up at the moment, and then I'll start looking at the record deck. And I may polish the lid first because I haven't really done the lid, so that's what I'm going to do next. Right, I've just put the circuit board back in now, and I'm just going to relocate the speaker. I give this black board here an extra coat of black because when you, well, I'll show you in a second, but when you turn it around, the plywood had lost its lamination on the first layer. I'll just show you that was the first bit of plywood that the grill was actually stuck onto. So when I pulled the grill off, this lifted, and that was the first ply that came off. So I removed all that, and that obviously left a wood coloured surface, which basically needs blacking out. I've just dropped the deck in, but I haven't fixed it yet because I've got to get the handle on. The handle on the side, the carry handle, because that's what bolts straight through, and you have to put nuts on the inside of the underside of the deck to hold the handle on, the carry handle. So I can't actually fit the deck really yet, although it is ready to go in. So I'll have to sandblast them other bits first, which and paint them. So, but initially I thought I'd just get this bit in. Again, there seems to be nothing wrong with the circuit board. Speaker connections actually mark these, so push the connectors back on. Everything's earthed out as it should be under the casing, and then basically just lever this back into place. And fix that with the 2 mounting screws. I'll push them in through first, but I'll make sure they do go back in the same place. Not much to these old record players, but I mean this one's a transistor state one, but the earlier ones are the valve operated ones, and they just take up a bit more room inside with some more stuff. And then that grill with the silver strip, put it on the right way, will be fitted on there like that. And then I will fix this one. I'll put black velcro on either side so that you can actually withdraw this. So that's my intention. I've got some black velcro, and that's the way I'm going to go with that. Here's one of the old techniques we've used before. We've got this old screw here on this hinge which I couldn't actually get out. It's an old crosshead screw and it's actually well worn, so I need to get it off obviously. So what I've got to do is to grind a slot in it so that we can get a flat-headed screwdriver to actually release it. So I'm going to do that with the old Dremel tool. So always wear your protective glasses with this. So I'm just going to start it up and off we go. Right, I've put. There we go. Got it. Now that could have been a very tricky little number, but obviously with the aid of the Dremel we was able to grind the slot in it, and now I can safely remove that hinge and renovate it. Now I'm just going to show you the hinge. I've just sandblasted the other stuff at the moment, so I just want to show you the difference between the two hinges. When one's been sandblasted and the other one obviously hasn't. So there you see you get in there. There we go. So one's been sandblasted and the other one hasn't. So I've actually sandblasted all the other stuff. That should be that way around actually. I've actually sandblasted the other stuff. As you can see, the locks have been sandblasted now. Now I'm not too sure what to do with these at the moment, as I say, because all I've got is what I've got available, and I've only got some silver paint or some gold paint. I don't really want to paint them if I can, because I really would like to plate them. So I've just been sort of looking into some home plating kits, and I may or may not on this occasion go down that road, but I haven't got the kits available. As you can see, that one there, can you see that? There we go. By sandblasting them or glass bead blasting or whatever, you can see that the actual finish now is taken right the way back, and all I need to do is now prepare the surfaces, but I've just got to decide which way to go. I may just use paint at this stage of the game because I haven't got no home plating equipment available. So, but it's done a very good job, the sandblaster, so I'm just going to blast this last bit now and clean that one up, and then we'll look at replacing it. Well, here she is. Finished. I'll just show you around it. Totally original condition. I did a repair there, as you remember. I put a little bit in there. All around the side, I put new catches on it. Silver paint. I couldn't find an exact handle like that, so I've had to do it that way. The lid looks fine. Cleaned up at the back, as you know. Took the hinges off, resprayed them. Label off and sprayed it with new adhesive and put the label back on, and I think you'll see it's in totally good condition now, highly sellable. These things are collected. Tone button works. There you go. Let's just open it up. All the mechanism works. If I just press the auto, that should stop the deck. As you can see, absolutely fine. I did have to do some modifications because the deck wasn't running correctly, and this centre spigot kept pulling out. There was an adjustment I had to do underneath for that, so that's all got taken care of. Plus, I got all the old grease off, which was hard and stopping the deck from rotating properly. So, but as you can see, highly sellable. Put that onto 7" now, because it's now a single, and change the speed to 45, and then click her over and see what happens now. Everything should go as it should do. That drops down. That never dropped down before, and we start the actual single off.
As I walk by the seaside, as I walk through the grass, I see little bluebirds making love while I pass. Bees are humming and they're singing them.
There you go, the wreck scene. Basically all I did was this is the wreck scene. Let me stop that actually. Turn the volume down. The wreck scene, I've left it in its original condition. As you remember, that did have a chip out there. As I showed you, I've got that stuff I got from the inside, and just literally, I mean, if you look really close you can see it, but initially at first glance you can't see it. But I mean, it's got that used, it's got a used look about it, which I didn't want to disturb. You can actually get some enamel paints, I've been told, and you can just touch these little bits in. That's what other restorers do apparently. The grill come up very nice after a clean. As I say, I actually put a bit in down there as well. That has a big bare bit there, as you can see, but I've actually put another bit in there. These hinges I got, they're not the exact same ones. I did try spraying the other one silver. Where are they? Let's get them for you, hold on. I did spray these ones silver, but they didn't, they looked a bit tacky. As you can see, I'll hold it up against that one. They come out okay with a sandblaster. What would be handy is if I had a little nickel plating kit, which I may invest in, because I mean, if I'm going to do this sort of stuff again, they only cost about £1.50 or something like that. They're not the exact same ones, but I've seen these for sale on eBay, and they are all using these Shaney UK hinges. As I say, I've just repainted that. I mean, that's the sort of thing which would have been handy if I could have plated it, so I may invest in a little plating kit if I'm going to continue doing these sort of ones. But overall, as you can see, it's in lovely condition and it's fully working. Call it, I'll give it a service. As I say, all the old grease has been removed. I had a look at the circuit board. There's no sign of any deterioration of any components on there. And all in all, a good £12 find at auction. And hopefully, I'm going to probably enjoy this one for a little bit first, and then I'll put it on auction, because I do like playing old records. And I don't know what it is, but when you're a kid, old records always seem good. I used to like watching the record deck go around, like probably quite a few of you had when you was younger. Yeah, when I do sell it on eBay, what I'll do is to take some nice pictures of it, obviously. And I think it's good to stick a period record on there, and I'll probably end up doing a video on it as well, similar to this one, but obviously one for sale showing it all working basically. But that is the conclusion to not a lot of work, to be honest with you. Basically all it was taking it apart, cleaning it. I didn't have to replace any parts really. As I say, I could have put them old hinges back on, but just to give it that proper look, I wanted to use nickel plated hinges, which was similar to the ones that would have been on there, but as I say, them ones were far too gone with rust basically. So as you can see, these are, you can pick these things up at car boot sales. You might even have one in your loft. There's not a lot really that goes wrong with them. The main problem that goes wrong with them is the decks start making funny whirring noises, the arms don't go across properly. Sometimes, this is an old transistor one, as we've looked inside, we've got a little circuit board in there, but ones from the 60s and the 50s had valve sets in them as well, so They got a warmer tone to them ones, but again, people are buying these again because they had one when they was young, and they perhaps got a record collection, and it's just nice to have one of these sitting in the corner, or to bring out every now and again to play your records on. So this was a record I remember when I was a kid, back in, I was in the 60s, that was obviously, and my father had that on a 78. That's Paul Anka, that is, and I recently, as I say, you tend to collect sort of things that you've had from the past, which take you back to a certain period in time of your life, and this would have been the mid 60s, I suppose, when I used to play that record over and over again. And people like me want to capture that moment again, and will buy these units possibly for about £100. I have seen this exact unit go on eBay for about £250. They do vary. You can pick them up as little as £20 on eBay for spares or repairs, or when they've been totally restored and they're in this sort of condition, probably a little bit better than this maybe. They definitely go for £125, but in top mint condition, like unused, no marks on the Rexine at all, I've seen these go for £295. So yep, definitely well worth doing for a £12 find at an auction or a car boot fair. And the bottom line is that anyone with any common sense who's got a general, I mean, I haven't really used a lot here. That's what I've used here. Basically, I've used a couple of screwdrivers, a little bit of glue to stick the labels back on and stuff like that, bit of tissue, bit of polish. Oh, I've got the sandblaster, I know, but I mean, I replaced the hinges. That just cleaned up with soap and water in the sink. The grill, when I took the grill out, sprayed the handle with a bit of silver paint and the back hinges, and just basically cleaned all the old grease off underneath the deck when you lift the deck up, cleaned the mechanism up, and basically cleaned all around the inside here. As you can see, it looks very, very nice indeed. So just to finish you off with, taking me back to my childhood, is Mr. Paul Anka, and I didn't set that, did I? I left the arm down. Look at me, I've forgotten how to work it. You can put it up there, or if you leave the arm open, it will auto replay, so I could have done that, but I left the arm across. So Mr. Paul Anka, and I Love You Baby.
As I walk by the seaside, as I walk